Hi all. In this video, let's learn something about React Router. So all the topics which are related to the React Router we shall discuss. So what is this React Router and what all the various options components we can use in this React Router. Let's see that. So what is this React Router? Why we need to use? So React, we use React for the single page applications for the development, SPA, single page applications. What does it mean? So whenever I click, so this is a sample React application. So if I click installation, so the route has modified at the top and the relevant component was loaded. So if I click creating a new app, if you observe the route has modified and the relevant page or component was loaded. So this is a single page application best example. So in order to implement this type of single page applications with the React library, so we are going to use this React router library. So let's install and see one by step its implementations. So firstly, we need to install, this is a sample create React application. So which have created with the create React app. So secondly, so I'm opening a new tab, new terminal. So here we need to install the npm install React router -dom. So this is the dependency we need to install. By default, React library will not have the React router. We need to install explicitly React router DOM so that to implement the React routing in our applications. So once you install this, so this is the first step in order to work with the React routing. The first step is we need to install React router DOM. Okay, so once you have installed successfully, so I'm going back. So I will go to the app page. I will remove the default content. Okay, so let's start. So once I have deleted whatever is by default provided by the app. So the second step is now I'm going to import the first component from this library. From, from which library? React router DOM. So from this library, we need to install, we need to import a couple of components. In that, the first component is browser router. So this is the first component, browser router. So there's a common practice like we'll be assigning this browser router as router. So this is the parent component of the application. If you want your application to be having this SPA like a single page application, we need to wrap this router component in the entire component tree. In sense, so this should be the first component of our application. So I have taken the browser route as router. Means I'm giving an alias name as a router, and all the children and application will go in this in between this as a children for this global browser router. So this is the first component we have loaded. Here we need to keep routes as a children. So as we discussed, we need to keep routes as a children. Again, the second component which we are importing is a route. So I'm importing the second component as route. So let me import that. So route. So this route component will take, this will take two parameters. So let me show you step by step. So I'm taking this route. It will take two parameters. The first one is the path. So what is the path? So I will define some path like a backslash about backslash contactors backslash. So this is a path. This property will tell the path. What is the path? So the second property is a component. So this property will tell the reference of the component. Here I will give as home as a component. Okay. So now we have created one path, one route path. We have imported this route component from this package, and we have used this as a children for the router parent, where this router will have two properties, path and the component. Path will give the exact path. So when the route changes to this path, we'll be loading this component. Here, the component will take the reference of the component function. So let's define one component as a home component. Let me declare a function here itself. Okay, I'm declaring here itself. Ideally, we can create each and every component, independent components under SRC folder, and we can import them and we can use them here. But as a simple basic example I'm keeping here itself. So I have taken a simple. So now I will add home component. So just I'm writing a text this as a home component. So when the route comes this, then this component will refer to this component, this function. So when the path is this routing path, will be loading this component. So this is how we have made. So this is a one route. So we can make this route in the other way. So this is one way to create the routes. So let me show the other way, like route, the path. So now I'm giving a different path about. Okay. So about is a path. When you get an about as a path, now I'm closing here. So I will close here. So in this way, you also you can give. So here I'm directly giving the about component. So this is the first way you can use the two properties, and this is the second way you can use a route. So both are the same. I will explain you the difference. So here I will create one more about component. Just I'm creating an about like this. So same, I will be doing the same thing. Just I will keep the text about component. Yep, this is a about component and this is a home component. So this is a one way of rendering the route. So this is a second way. The difference between the first way and the second way is in the first way, we are referring to this component, to the React function. The component will refer to the React function. So in the second way, if you declare like this, we have a chance of sending the properties to the about component. So this is the best way of sending the properties. If we need to send any properties, we can send those properties to this about property like this. So this is a basic version. Okay, you have created two routes and we are, so let's see that how it works in the browser. So let me open this. So we'll also open the console. Yep. Let me zoom this. So as the route is a home route, so we get home component. So let me change the route to the backslash about. So when I did do this backslash about, you can see both the home component and about component, both the components are loaded. So let's fix that issue. Why we are only asking the about component here. If the backslash route is backslash about, it means we are interested only in the about component. But here, if you observe, we got both the components, home component and about component. The reason behind this is the route comes to this backslash. So it thinks that it needs to render this component. So that's the reason it has rendered this component. And later on, this is also true. So first of all, we have a backslash here. It checks this backslash and it will render the home component first. And later on, it will check for the another route and it has backslash about. So this one also it matches. So that's the reason it has rendered both the components. So how to fix this? So we have one more property called exact. So if I click this exact, what does this it means we are saying when you get the path only backslash, then only render this. If anything else is there apart from this backslash, don't render this component. So this is how we can fix this issue. So now when we get this backslash about, we could able to see only the about component, which is a required functionality. So this is how we could able to fix that issue. So coming to the another part. So let me show you one more thing, like instead of component, you can also declare one more thing, one more property. Let me copy this. Let me comment this and I will show you one more part. So what is that? I will show you. So the route path. So instead of component, we can have one more thing like render. So this render can take a function. This can take a function like this. Whereas a component, the difference between the component and the render is component will only refer to the React function or a component. Whereas render, here you can use some conditional rendering as well. It will provide us a function for us. So like that, just I'm writing a sample code logged in. If the user is logged in, you can show a component like welcome component. Okay, like this. So if the user is not logged in, so then now you can load him as a guest component. So in this way you can use. So this is the best benefit of using render over component. Okay, so you can maintain this logged in as a state variable. Based upon the user is logged in, you can load this welcome component. If he is not logged in, you can route him to the guest component as a guest component. Fine. So this is the difference between the render property and the component property. So I have commented this. Now let's go with the another examples. So now let's introduce one more thing like switch. So why we need to use a switch component? So before that, I will explain you one more example. So here I'm again taking one route. So just I'm copy paste this route. So I will copy paste this and here I will give the about. Once again, I'm giving the same path. Okay. And here instead of about, I will take one more function, one more component that is about two. So I will just duplicating the component. So I have taken two about components here, duplicate components. So now, but I'm keeping the same path. Okay, I'm keeping the same path. If the path is about here, I'm asking to load the about component. If the path is about, I'm loading about two component. So this is a contradiction. It means we are wantedly or unwantedly we can do this part. So the path is same and we are rendering two different components. Let's check what happens in the browser. So you can see both the components are rendered. When the route is about, both the about component and about two component were rendered. So this is a problem. So how to fix this problem? It means this is an ambiguity, right? By mistake or by wantedly, if you do this, two components would be rendered for the same path. So how to fix this? Instance, we can have one more component called switch. So let me import that. Switch is one more component. We need to wrap all our routes within the switch so that whenever it matches the first route, so it will come out of this router. So let me show you that. So we need to wrap this switch component to all our route components so that whenever the best match, so first matches, so the about is matched here. So it will render this about component and it will ignore this. It will come out of this function. It will come out of this component. So this is how the switch component will take care about these problems. So let's check now. So here we got only about component. As we discussed, the switch component will first make sure it will take the first matching path and it will display that component and it will come out of. So that in this way we can route that problem. So this is all about the switch. So now let me comment this about to. So now, for example, we have home component and about component. Let's say we don't have contact as component, right? Still, we have not yet designed that. So if I click that contact as a component or route for that, so what happens? Usually we have not yet created that component. So that's the reason we'll be getting a empty page like this. But if you show an empty page like this, the user can't understand anything. What's his mistake? So now let's add the 404 route. In sense, by mistake or by wantedly or anyone can modify the routes here. So for example, let me show you something like this. So here I'm just modifying at the top. I'm keeping two. If I click this, usually this route is not present in this application. So that's the reason it is showing 404 issue. So we need to handle this 404 not found issues as well. Whenever the path is not the specific path. So if the path is correct path, it will load the exact component. If the path is different, we need to handle the 404 routes as well. So how to route or how to handle that 404 issues? So we need to take one more route component. Okay. And you need to give the path as star asterisk. So this asterisk will take care of all other routes which are not matching in our routing path. So now which component you can load? Any component you can load. So I'm loading a not found component here. So this is as per your business. So for example, if you see here, so they have used one component like this, a component which shows 404, which is not available. Looks like this page can't found. So like this, they have used their 404 route. So in the similar way, you can also use the any of the not found component. So for now, I'm creating a not found component. Just I'm returning a text saying that we have landed in a page. So let's just give it user-friendly message to the user so that he can understand exactly what he's doing. Landed in a page which doesn't exist. So if you give a user-friendly like message like this, he can understand what's the exact issue he is facing. So let's see that. So when I'm routing to contact us route, as this route was not defined in our application, it is going to this route, 404 route. We can call this as 404 route as well. So this is how we can manage. So now let's discuss about one more point like a link component. Where to use this link component? Fine. So whenever you have till now we have only seen the routes. So if you need any component which is in common to all the routes, then what you are going to do? We need to have a common route, right? Whenever you click something, you need to route to some other part. For that, we need to have a common component. So let me take in that component as a nav bar. So let me create that nav bar component function. So in this function, I'm trying to return back. So I will return nav. So why we are doing this, I will explain you in detail. So while you are using this, you need to, when you click something in the navigation bar, you need to route to the particular route. So that's the reason we need to use a link component. So that's the reason I'm importing the link component here. So we need to use that link component. What we can do is you can mention link to. So exactly, you need to mention the path here. Whatever the path you have mentioned here, you need to mention that path. So that is the to component, and you can give any of the text. So home. So I will do the same link component for about us as well. To. So this is the same path. So now we are creating a navigation bar where we can click this and we can get the application. So till now what we have done, we have manually routed the components, but now we are trying to insert our navigation bar and we wanted to click that navigation links so that we'll be routing to that particular components. So this is the navigation component we have created. So any component which we create, which we want in each and every page, apart from the routes, we can insert them in this component itself. About the switch, here you can insert this navbar component. Okay, I'm inserting this. We should not insert this component outside of these routes. Okay, anything which is in common in all the routes, in all the pages, then you need to insert it at the top of the switch or below the switch. Okay, but you need to keep those components in the router, parent router itself. So that's a rule. So now we have inserted the nav bar at the top. So let's check. We got two things. Let me give a small break here. So to differentiate the things. Yep. So here we got a navigation bar. So the CSS doesn't look good, but the concept is like I can click the home. As we are in the home component, it is showing the home component. If I click the about component, see the route, first the route changes. When I click the about component, the route changes. Based upon this route, the component would be loaded. So this is about the routing. So if I click home page, the route modifies. Based upon that route, this component can be loaded. So this is how we can proceed on this link navigation bar. Okay. So whereas if you observe, this navigation bar would be in common for all the routes and all the components. Okay. Finally, the last concept is regarding the use params and dynamic routes. It means how to handle the dynamic content. So for example, let me go to a fake API. So this is a JSON placeholder, a fake API. So if you go here, so you can see the post here. If I click the post here, you got n number of posts. Okay, let's say 100 posts. If you route to this page, you'll be getting this much data for you. But what if you want to have the route like sixth route, if you want to check only the sixth post, the ID 6 post, sixth post data. So if you click 6, you'll be getting the relevant, only that record you'll be getting. If you, this is known as a dynamic route. So you can modify this route to the 10. Okay, if I modify that to the 10, so now you got that particular record. So how to take this value dynamically and how to do this call and how to get this data dynamically. So let's see that with the use params and dynamic routes. For that, First, we need to create one component. Let's create a component. So let's say that as a function blog post. So we'll say this as function blog post. Okay. I will create a constant, a post, and I will set this post. Okay. Later on, once I click this, I will be using the use state here. I will use use state. I will keep null as a value. Okay. So let me create one more constant. This is to get the dynamic post number, which post number you want. So that one we will be doing this. For that, we'll be using the use params. This is the hook. Use params is a hook which is available. We need to import that here. So this will be available in the same package, use params. Okay. So we need to import that before using. So when I import this, now I can use this in this component. This use param will give us an object. So that's the reason we have destructured that object and we are trying to get this post number. It means in our case, this 10 number. Okay. So now let's use effect to call this API use effect. So now I'm using this use effect. So I will keep the dependency array as a post number. So now here I need to call a fetch call. So let me do a default fetch call. Here they will be providing, yeah, this is a default call. Yeah, I will do a call like this. Here I will do the post because we are concentrated on the post. So now we need to pick this value dynamically, the one. So now how we need to remove this double quotes. I'm using the tilde operator as we are using the variables dynamically. So I'm using in interpolation, string interpolation dollar. Here I need to use a post number. So I'm using the post number here. So in sense, whenever you modify this post number in the top route, this use parameter will get the dynamic route and it will insert that number here in the post number. Whenever you get this post number, you are calling as this post number is modified, this state value is modified. As this post number dependency is modified, this number, this fetch call would be happen. In this fetch call, you are keeping the route, dynamic route. So this is the way you need to handle the dynamic data. So let's keep the data in the state variable. I'm modifying this as a data, and here you can I will be using multiple statements. So I have kept. So now you can set the data, set the posts as a data. Okay. So this is how. So I'm doing a API call, getting the response, modifying that response to the JSON, giving that JSON response to the data and consoling that and modifying that code. And I mean, I'm setting the post data here. So once I post this data, so what else I can do? If the post is empty, so if I not get any data, so just I will return back the null. So this is the best way to return any of the components. If you're not interested to send any component, it's good to send null. So now if you return, if you get any response, then how you're going to return it back. So let's see that. So here I'm using h4 tag. So in this h4 tag, I'm using a post dot id or a title. So next I will use a para tag. So here I will use post dot id. Okay, so this is the data I will be getting from the post. Okay, so we have created a component. How to use this component, how to keep this route. We know for the not found, you can use this hashtag, but for dynamic routes, how to create this route. So let's check that. So route and the path. So let me create the path like this. So the path should be like I'm giving hyphen post hyphen colon post number. So the same number, so the same variable which we are using here, we need to use the same post number because this use param will extract that number and it will assign to this. So that's the reason you need to use the same post number, same variable, whatever I have used down, I need to use the same here. So when you get this component, when you get this route, which component you wanted to load. So the component name is blog post. So let's do that. Blog post. Blog post. Yep. So we are done. We're done with using the use params and the dynamic routes. So let's check that. So I'm going here. So yeah, I have used use state and use effect, but I have not included them. So that's the reason it is showing an error for me. So let's import them. So import, let me import the use state, comma, use effect. So let's import them from the React. Fine. We have imported them. So let's check this. Fine. Now we got it. Now let's modify this as posts hyphen 6. So let have given you the 6 post of 6. So now it got the 6th record dynamically and it is showing the ID as 6 and its relevant title. So let's check the 6th ID and post. So let me go back to the post and let me modify that to the 6th icon. Yep. If you observe here, the ID is 6 and the title is the same which we have rendered here. So this is how you need to manage the dynamic routes. Whenever, so the post 6 and the post 6. So you're getting the 6th record. Here we are getting the 6th record dynamically. So that is how we need to route the things. Here what use param will do is it will get this 6th as a dynamic route and it will give that 6 to this page number. When this page number is modified, this dependency array will need to call this function. As this function calls, it will keep that modified number here and it will call a dynamic call, API call, fetch API call, and it will get back the data and it will set that in this set post function. And once it is set that post, we are using that here. So this is how you can use params and dynamic routes. In this video, we have learned all things related to the React router, the browser router component, route component, why, and also the exact property importance and switch component, the problem without switch, what happens. And with the switch, it will stop at the first exact match and it will come out. And also we have shown what is the component and render props. We'll be using render props when there is an conditional logic to be used. And also we have seen the navbar, anything which you wanted to use throughout the application common things, you can use this navbar. And the link component is the link which you click, you're going to path. You're going to change the route with the link component. And we have seen the 404 route. This is whenever you route to a page which you have not defined, you can keep this route 404 with the asterisk route. Also, we have seen use params, hook, and dynamic routing as well. So this is all about React routing. Hope you understand the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos.